Joining me now from Tucson, Arizona, Vice President of the National Border Patrol Council, Art Del Cueto. Art, fresh numbers. This is from Princeton Policy, and they crunch these numbers. I don't know if you ever heard of these folks. They're very good at it. They say 115,000 apprehensions. That's a preliminary number for the month of May. Those are the raw numbers. 650,000 for the year so far. I don't know how that jives with your numbers. But the bottom line is, our system is overwhelmed. I don't have to tell you that. What do you do? What does Border Patrol do? You hear the president, of course, giving you accolades and saying you're doing a marvelous job, but what in the world do you do with all of those people?
Well, I'll tell you what they're doing with those people is the majority of them are being released in the United States, hoping that they show up for their court date. And the percentages are very, very low of what does show up. So what's unfortunate is, obviously, these people are being apprehended, which sounds great. But what a lot of people are not reporting on or failing to report is these large numbers that are being detained are also being released within the country. And that is a huge problem.
That's what the president is trying to stop, the so-called catch and release. And we have some welcome news in the effort to stem the flow. There's a judge who has a brain, apparently, in Washington, D.C. It's a Trump-appointed judge. He says, yes, the president can use military money to build the wall, but that's down the road. But it is some good news. The bad news is, Art, I hate to break this to you, but the House of Representatives, in its upcoming new budget for Department of Homeland Security, as far as funding for the wall, zero. A big, fat goose egg.
Right. And then you know what? With the funding for the wall, obviously it's helpful because it can funnel where we want the groups to go.
Right.
But the big issue, you got me?
Yeah.
Okay, the big issue is going to be the law itself allows these individuals to come into the United States and be able to claim asylum, and they're being released. So at this point, even the wall, though very hopeful and very helpful, is not going to be the be-all, end-all unless Congress decides to help us with a lot of these laws. And at the same time, we have our own leadership within CBP, within DHS, and within Border Patrol that need to start doing something about this.
Let's look at that a little bit, Art. That's kind of the first time. You've been on this program several times, many times. I think it's the first time you've ever kind of gone into the bureaucracy. Are you telling us that there are some holdovers from the Obama administration? Are there some folks who are slow-walking policy? What's happening, without naming names and getting too down in the details? What's happening? Right. What are you alluding to?
No, I mean, you see the individuals like Brandon Judd, like myself, different individuals from the union that have been very vocal, and they've been very much up in the news explaining what's going on. I would just like to see a little bit more backbone out of some of the leadership at times.
Right. Okay. So the president's taken a lot of heat in terms of his policy with Mexico and these tariffs that are set to take hold in just a matter of days. I look at it as, something, if it changes the paradigm, again, you're dead on target. In the end, it's up to our Congress to change the laws. But it certainly would help if Mexico played ball and enforced not only its northern border, but its southern border and its tough immigration law.
Listen, I hate coming out on a lot of these shows because I almost sound like I'm a cheerleader to the president. But I can be honest, he's the one individual that from day one, even before he was president, has been pushing that line and saying we need to defend our borders. There's a lot of individuals, as you stated earlier, that are still here from the past administration that I just haven't seen much out of them. But at the same time, when you're looking at the tariffs and you're looking at Mexico, this is what it comes down to, and people need to realize it. These individuals are crossing into Mexico. The Mexican government is allowing them to enter their country. The Mexican government is making money because these individuals are traveling through their country, buying goods, what have you, many things, right? The cartels are making money off of it. The smuggling organizations are making money off of it. And many times, these cartels and these smuggling organizations, let's tell it like it is, they're bribing a lot of these officials in Mexico. So the government in itself as a whole is making money off of this. And who is it that's suffering? The American public, because they're allowing them to come into the United States as long as they travel through there. And there's a lot of politicians. I'm not going to point fingers because we all know who they are. But there's a lot of politicians that have forgotten that they're in that position because they were voted on by the American public to serve the American public. And instead of doing so, they've decided to serve the public of another country, thus harming American citizens.
Or they decided to serve their individual political parties, and it's up to the American people to put the heat on those elected officials because, Art, you and I both know summer's coming. And these numbers I just quoted a couple of minutes ago, they are likely, no, they are going to go up. So the president is dead on course. It's time for the Congress to join him. Art, thank you.
Want to see more videos like this? Click on the link below and subscribe to One American News on YouTube. And call your cable provider and kindly demand that One American News is added to your lineup. Call and subscribe today.